If you're like me, you have resolved to use your cell phone less in the new year. With some tips on how to do that, we have tech expert Andrea Eldrige from Nerds on Call. Andrea, ever since the iPhone started sending this weekly report, I have been very self-conscious about my cell phone use.
I know, and that's the intent. It's really just to kind of make you aware of how much time you're spending on your device. You're talking about screen time. It's not certainly the only app that lets you have this functionality, but it's new to the latest rollout of iOS, and so some of us iPhone users are going, oh my gosh, how much time did I spend on Facebook last week, and what do I do about that? And as parents, we know that there are issues for our family, and so it's important because of the fact that we want to make sure our kids feel like they are our priority and we're not constantly having our phone in our hand while we interact with them. ABG actually did a study where they found that 54% of children felt parents check their devices too often. 32% of kids feel unimportant when their parents get distracted by their phones. And we've talked about this before, so it's just kind of another really good reason to kind of use these reports and go, okay, how can I use this information to help me maybe monitor a little bit? The first step is don't set limits just for yourself. You want to set limits for the whole family because it's not like a do as I say, not as I do kind of mentality. You want to make sure that you have consistent rules for everyone. So no devices at the dinner table or no devices after 9 p.m., whatever works for your family. But make sure that you're all living by those same rules instead of just setting rules for your kids and going, but I'm going to go ahead and take care of this right now. So that can be helped by a family charging station. We've given this recommendation before where at nighttime, just everybody throws their devices in a common charging station out in the living rooms, not in the bedrooms, and you can have that be kind of a consistent way to enforce those rules as a family. So, talking about this iOS app, this is screen time, so you can get to this in your settings on an iPhone. So if you're an iPhone user, I actually set this up just to make sure I was prepared to see how it worked. And I learned a couple interesting things. So I set up downtime, which basically gives you the ability to set like a bedtime for when certain apps will stop functioning. And so I made it so that certain things turned off at midnight. And you can select which specific apps you want it to do that to. So some things that you use all the time, like maps or email, or if you want access to it anytime, you can preclude it and make that always available. You can also set specific limits for certain categories of functions like social media, and then when you get to that daily limit, it'll give you a little notice on your phone that says like you're 5 minutes away from your limit, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I guess I gotta stop doing that right now. So this has actually been really interesting because initially when I put it on, I realized that compulsion to pick up your phone and do something with it, that distraction necessity that we've all developed now, that kind of attention deficit issue, where we're like, oh, we got 2 seconds, I'm just gonna go ahead and pull out my phone really quick.
Yes, guilty.
That still happens, but now you don't have anything to do. And so you're like, well, I guess there's nothing left to, okay. And it actually like kind of breaks that just instinctual, like pick up the phone and do something with it. So that was really actually helpful. It's not a lockdown system, so you can just press a button and say override it. So if you're not really doing it just to be reminded and kind of have that little mental like, oh wait, that's right, I don't really need to do this, you can get around it really easily.
Andrea Eldrige, thank you so much.
Absolutely.